Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk, guys. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I definitely appreciate the support of the channel. Something a little bit different today. Not the coffee, though. I've got coffee. Dark roast today. A little bit different. So I'm doing my 100 battle challenge, as most of you know. The tank I started playing lately was the CS63, which is a tank that I unlocked and never really got into. I had like a 28% win rate at 15 battles or so. Low sample size. So I decided, as I'd gone through a bunch of tier 6s and things like that, let's try something a little bit exciting. So I'm going to take this CS63 right here, this Polish tier 10 medium, which is a very fast and has an extra turbo on top of turbo stuff. Talk about that in a minute. And let's make kind of a RAM build out of it. And we'll run around, we'll rage around, and I had two parts to that. Number one was a little bit of fun with ramming, just see how that works out. Never really done it that much. I've rammed people, but I haven't made a build. And as a matter of fact, I haven't really made, other than maybe my mana core for scouting, any builds out of things. And this one, I still haven't really touched the field mods too much, so it's a work in progress. But I had the game I'm going to show you, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it because it was two parts, like I said. The first one was to take a really fast tank like this and see how disruptive it can be. Now, scouts can generally get where this thing can get, or wheeled tanks, but they don't have the staying power. So now you're taking tier 10 medium, going to some scout places, potentially, and maybe disrupting the game a little bit right there with a more versatile, heavier tank than a scout, right? Maybe able to hold some of those spots, certainly able to beat other scouts that might be there. Of course, that's going to lead you into major overextension. So I have a whole nother video discussing that, some of the ins and outs, positions, what that looks like, how badly you can get obliterated, because I found that out multiple times, which we kind of all know, but I think it really has some really fun capabilities. This particular game, though, we're just going to really talk a little bit about it in general, both on the ramming side to some extent, and gameplay at tier 10 to some extent, and just had a really, really fun game with this last one. It's my best result so far. It's only a class 1. I have about 40, 50 battles in this tank. Haven't aced it yet, but this was my best result. So let's just quickly talk about how I have this thing set up. Now, it is not a pure RAM build, and it's not a pure combat build. I kind of took a combo of the two things. The driver definitely has controlled impact, so that's very important right there. I'm running a turbo in the mobility slot. I do not have a bond turbo. I have bounty rammer and bounty vents. Now, there's several other things you can put in those spots, like hardening and spall liner, which should help out with the ramming piece. I need to do some testing on that. But I'm like I said, I'm trying to do a little bit of combat and a bit of ramming in there. But this brings me up to a pretty respectable 3,616 DPM. Gives me a top speed of 75 with the turbo. We'll talk about that when we get in the game. This has an X button that makes it go faster than normal, but so top speed while pressing the X button in its special turbo mode is 75 kilometers an hour. Otherwise, we're doing 60, which is funny. It feels slow. It actually feels slow, even though it's still a 60 top end, which is actually pretty funny. So we get a decent 0.31 dispersion, like I said, a good average DPM. It does have -8 depression, so there's a lot to like about this, and it reloads relatively quickly, not quite STB levels, but 6.47 is nice for a 390 alpha gun with a respectable 258 on the regular round, and we're talking about a 315, which is really nice, especially for an APCR round. If you think about it, that's pretty nutty. On the special round, I'm 38, 10, and 2. I'm running a fire directive because I do not have firefighting on my crew, and I'm running food, so I'm not running an automatic fire extinguisher. So as you can see, there's another thing in there we could do, and I'll go in depth on this on my next video, but you could run fuel and other things like that, gas, to make it even better as far as power for the engine. Pretty cool setup, really fun. So let's get into it. Check out this replay for my, I don't know what to call it. It's not really a RAM build, but I do get a little Ramalamadingdong going on in this game. All right, Kharkov Dorf. Here we are in Kharkov Dorf. We have spawned into the north side. It's an all tier 10 battle. This has a little bit of field, a little bit of city in there. It's not a bad map, actually. I'm sort of bummed about the total dead space in the middle, but it is semi-usable by fast tanks and light tanks and such. But we're here to see what happens with the CS63. One thing I didn't talk about too much is the ability of this thing to get around the map because of its speed to metaflex from one side to the other, all that kind of good stuff. So we'll just talk as we go. I am going to run this thing, and I have been running this thing pretty much like a hybrid scout medium. It has okay camo at 20 or so. It's not amazing. It's really the speed that allows it. Now somebody says Guido, is that the Guido on the forum? It's actually Fractured Raptor, so shout out to him. If he's there, he's definitely on the NA forums quite a bit. I get a little spun out. This irritated me a bit. I was going to type angrily, but I said, whatever, let's try to get over it. He said sorry. Fantastic. No worries there. MM Pro Gamer, all good. That was weird that he actually spun me out. I don't think he did it on purpose. So I'm going to come up to this bush. Now, I'm not going to go straight up into the bush up there. And I'm not going to YOLO up and over that hill. Just because I've been doing that a lot with this, and I know what happens. The Tier 10 is too accurate, too much vision, too fast. There's all kinds of guys already going to be on that hill, despite how fast I am. Notice that the 50-51 is already up top, as is the 277. So as fast as I was, I did not quite get there in time to be fastest with the mostest. And there, of course, their scout is right there as well. He's going to burn through because of CBS. A lot of bushes are going to get burned through, so I have learned my lesson. I'm going to continue doing it, right, just because it's a lot of fun. But this one I decided to be a little bit more cagey. Notice that you start in Super Turbo. When that little circle right here is gold, that means you're in Super Turbo. So you press X, takes 2 seconds to shift, and now I'm in regular. You also lose dispersion when you're in Super Turbo, i.e. it's harder to hit things when you're in Super Turbo. If you go into regular mode like this, then you have your regular dispersion. So if you want to do any fighting, you probably want to be in this mode right here. If you want to do any running and raging, then you want to be in Super Turbo. If you want to do any ramming, correct, Super Turbo, Mo speed. Now we're going to hang out in this bush just a little bit. I have found this to be about the best bet for medium tanks on this map. You can go up into the saddle here and get thumped in the face by both Arty and big TDs and things pressing 2 with all kinds of pen. Not really my favorite thing to do right there. I told you why I'm not in that bush. And then, of course, you always have this kind of thing going on. And the bummer right now is I do have the LT helping me out, but I only have 2 Grill 15s. So I've already made the determination that if we get pressed here too much, I am outie. And the good news is you press X, you're outie fasty. You're gone. You gone. He gone, folks. This thing will rage. So the 100 LT is trying to spot. I'm going to hang out here and see if they start to get a little aggressive. Somebody will get impatient right here, more than likely. Try not to make it you. So this guy's going to come up. He's looking at, see how he's looking at the scout? He shoots, I shoot. He shoots, I shoot. I'm not going to get a return fire from him. I might get thumped by Arty. Maybe there's another guy somewhere near. Most likely not. It'd be hard for them to get into that bush line that is right in front of me without being spotted. So we'll just do that timing. And that's the kind of thing I'm looking for when I'm working that bush right there. Also, back slope is nice. Makes it harder for the Arty to hit you. Now we'll just do some double bush here. Just gives me a turret. I'm going to have a really heck of a time getting through a 277's turret right there, unless I can somehow snipe the little tiny hatch up there. So he comes forward a little bit. That's going to go into the top. We'll get a shot on him. The 100 gets the assist. You'll notice that I didn't get any out of it. I got a little bit earlier with 107. And I get spotted. Now, how do I get spotted? Well, more than likely somebody is down here that I don't see. It is highly unlikely that someone has snuck into this bush. Maybe. I don't think it was the 277 because I already kind of was up there several times and he didn't get any burn through. So I am guessing the dude is more than likely down there on my left. And that is now starting to raise the hairs on the back. There's an Arty coming in on the back of my neck. So I'm like, well, now I'm flanked. It's not a really survivable spot for a light tank, but I can't see him. I don't know where he is. So I've got to kind of be careful. What I really want to do is go dark here and then start creeping up and see where he sees me. Or maybe somebody actually spots him. So I'm going to hang out here for a minute. Make it a little bit harder for the Arty to hit me. We'll go sneak up and see if we can see anything. Now I'm waiting for the light bulb to go off. Does it? No, didn't. All right. Be careful when you're doing things like that, coming up and trying to get a light, trying to get your sixth sense to light, of backing down and coming right back up so that they shoot you. Give it a little time for the bulb to go off before you start creeping back forward, because they may just, there he is. Well, now I'm like, oh, maybe it isn't that guy. He's a little far off, isn't he? I don't think it was him. I kind of doubt it. But he is coming up this way. I go into speed mode, and I'm thinking about bailing. Yep, we're going to head off this way. More than likely, I'm going to get spotted doing it. Looking for a way out. So we got a 121, there's a scout, there's that guy. I do get lit, and I'm thinking, that's really interesting. More than likely, that was their scout in this bush, because you can see this area from their bush. There's two opposing bushes up there. You can see this kind of corner, and obviously this ridge, and a little bit low right here. So I probably got spotted by their light tank up there. Maybe the one in the middle, if that's where he is. I never really got any satisfaction on who lit me, though, did I? But I'm out. And I feel bad. I'm leaving the grills, but that's just a recipe for disaster right there. About to get pushed. And there's the EBR. And that's where the flank completely goes to crap and falls. The EBR gets in behind, gets the grills lit. They can no longer support me out in the open. The rest of them boil over while those two are trying to shoot the EBR, or even I am. And then the whole flank just collapses. We all die. More than likely, the grills are going to die. Although the EBR did bail out. I think the EBR might die right here. Try to get out of the way of the 110 E4. So I'm just going to fall back. And this is a skill you need to try to add to your game. I haven't had it for a long time, really. But to a large extent, I've kind of gone to a flank, played really well in the flank, and died there. And sometimes that helped my team win, and sometimes it didn't. More often, based on my win rate, it does help my team win. But it doesn't get me to that above 60%. And when I play well like this, those are the days I can get there. And then this just bummed me out. I'm like, okay, we'll just wait till we do. We'll kill him. Yep. No, oh, my goodness gracious. Didn't quite wait till it was fully zoomed either, did I? Got a little impatient. There we go. We'll come with this one. No. Oh, boy. Did you notice how I kind of jerked it when I fired? I actually do that once in a while, and I'm not really sure why. I think it's because I'm trying to fine-tune that last shot. And it may also be a symptom of zooming in so much. Is sometimes when I get zoomed in, I take the shot, I just, a little... Maybe I'm trying to put some English on that shot right there. Now they're shooting back. They know I'm here, so I got to get out. Notice how it's a little bit more sluggish. Take a shot on him. Don't get him. And we're going to hide right here. So we're down some tanks here, 4-1. But I've been able to use my mobility to stay alive. I've got all my votes, all my hit points. And now hopefully we can come in here and support these guys. And try to sneak out and see if we can get some shots on these dudes. So maybe we can kill this guy here. There we go. There we go. And that was RNG because I wasn't fully closed in. He was moving and it just worked out. So I'll just stab one at that guy and hope for the best. Doesn't happen. So the 110E4 went back and he's kind of guarding the cap. That makes me feel good. It's going to be hard for them to really push in on him. They may get in and around something like a 13-105, but he can punish them. Our heavies are doing okay. Then there's this guy raging. Put a shot on him. That works out. And booyah, Artie gets the kill. Thank you, Artie. But holy cow, now we're 3-6. And I'm trying to think, all right, what am I going to do right here? How do I start to bring this thing back? 4-7. We're not down that many hit points. 2,757 is actually not bad. That's what I know about what we're down, though. That's not a necessarily always accurate number. I learned that several months ago. Didn't actually realize it. But if stuff's happening outside of your draw range that you don't see, it's not draw range. I guess it's radio range. Or be honest, I'm not exactly sure. But if it's away from you, I should look that up. I should know that mechanic. I think it's enough to know, though, basically that that's not a perfect number. And the idea is stuff that's happening away from you. Now, I think I might shoot. Yeah, bounce off of him. A little bit rushed right there. 277s reload pretty quickly. I have lost duels with them thinking that they had a really long reload just because they're a heavy, and they do not. For a heavy, they have a quite fast reload. Most of the heavies that don't hit that hard, obviously, their alpha is low. So I'm going to try to hang out here for a little bit. I'd love to get the EBR. Now, things are starting to even up a little bit. I'm liking what's going on in town. These guys are doing good. Now, let's go to very basic tactics right here, guys. Very basic tactics. Stop pushing into their campers. Notice you've got a 277, an EBR. If you can get out of there, the 110E4, the 277, and the other heavy over there, which is the other 277. if they could stop pushing back up and consolidate our forces, we'd be in better shape right here. But the problem is most people see a flank being won, or they just simply go to a flank, and I've done that before. That worked out. I'll take it. Really bummed the arty didn't kill that guy. See a flank being won, and they will keep pushing, right? Although they do have some guys in their faces. It would have been nicer if we could have got a little closer together. Right now we have several individual engagements going on. You've got the fight down in the south part of the city with 2 of us and a 277 that's locked down by what I would say is probably another TD sitting right here down in the southeast. So they're sort of locked in and can't really run away, especially knowing that position on the map. You can't back through here because all this open area, there's no way to get away. So they're kind of locked in. They're fighting these guys more than likely. This guy has freedom maybe to move, to come back around, come through here, or all the way back around. It's a fast tank as well. No reason to keep pushing the TD down here. And then, of course, the 110E4 did a lot of camping and hanging out, but he's actually serving a purpose right now, being that big, scary gun there. And then, of course, my little engagement now, I don't know what this other TD is doing over here, 4005. He actually helps out a little while later. Now I'm in a bit of a DPM fight with the 277. He's hit me. Come out here. Oh, and that was terrible. That was such a bummer. I rushed it. I needed to follow him just a little bit more to make sure I got the shot, but a little bit of bad RNG, a little bit of a rush shot, and now I'm a little bit behind from where I really could have been. If I could have hit that shot, I would have pressed him and taken him down. But now I've got to start figuring this out. And we got the drill pushing in. I'm thinking, all right, 110E4. He's looking over that way. He gets a piece of me. Notice his gun was looking away. I wanted to try to get out of there, but he swung it, got a shot. But I do know that I'm going to out-reload this guy because of my fast reload. He's got a pretty good one. That's going to give me an opportunity to come in here. He's watching. I'm going to go for the track. He's trying to block it. Nicely done. You're going to see that at Tier 10, folks. You notice his turret swinging back and forth. He's trying to put the gun as best he can in front of where I'm aiming. That is a sign. At high tiers, you see that a lot more, but that is a competent to good player doing that. All right, so we'll back out. Now, I don't really want to trade another hit from him if I don't have to. I'd love to be able to kill him without trading a hit. The 110E4 has taken some damage. So I'm just going to think about it for a minute, and then the 110E4 makes it happen. And I'm like, all right, good. I didn't have to go out there, press that fight, and eat another shot. We're down some hit points still. Now we've evened this thing up right here, looking pretty good. But I think we're going to have some badness happen pretty quickly. And then I see this dude. I'm like, oh, well, he's coming around here. Bad on him. We get him dead. Fantastic. That's just plain old lucky to some extent. I had no idea that guy was there. Just kind of carefully looking around. I saw him first. Worked out. When you have a big game, and while this is not the greatest, biggest game of all time, it's not a mastery, it's still a pretty good game. When you have a good game, more than likely some luck is coming your way. The question really is, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? Whether it's good luck or bad luck, or the situation you're in, somebody gets a lucky bounce on you or from you or whatever. That's not the question. It's not, oh, RNG lost it. It's, all right, shit, what do I do with this now? Right? And if it's a good thing, then what do you do with it? And we're going to have an example of this coming up. Several examples, actually. So be careful about watching replays like this and commentary in games and going and thinking that, you know, that person does this all the time. You guys have seen me on stream. I've showed it on Miserable Monday. This tank in particular, I have had games with 0 damage where I raged into a forward spot and just exploded. I'll probably show it on the video, but I had one on Abbey where I took the Abbey from, I don't remember which side. One has an opening to where the spawn can shoot you and one does not. And I was a 2-shot. I got hit by a grill, and then the rest of my 1,200 hit points were taken up by an FV. And I'm gone, right? So I hit turbo. I'm like, yeehaw, take that important spot, dead guy. So just understand that, you know, this obviously doesn't happen all the time. Or I could pretend it does. I don't know. What should we say? Should we just say, should I just act like I always have big games like this? Let's talk about the situation. We're still down some tanks, unfortunately. They have a grill with some pretty good hit points. They have a freaking FV. Turns out he doesn't have a lot of hit points. I think actually the 110 might take a piece of him. We have our FV still hanging out in the back. So that's kind of why I'm near him. Right now I don't really have any business out in the open. They have an EBR. They have a grill. Two other TDs and 2 arty. So I just have to hope that I can find a way to remove a couple of these guys without getting nuked by arty. So he finds the 110E4, takes a piece of him. I start to move over here. I've got the turbo going, so this will be about as fast as I can get going here. I'm thinking, all right, let's come around here and try to kill this 110E4. And then I notice there's the FV, and this is my chance, right? If he keeps pushing, there we go. I'm kind of watching what's going on. Ooh, I see him moving forward. So notice my camera work. I'm kind of looking back here like this. I'm worried about someone showing up at my 6 o'clock. I'm like, all right, what do I see? And that's why I kind of zoom out a lot to look around. It's one thing to look at the mini map. It's better, though, to get a relative azimuth, an idea, by zooming out a little bit. So I can see that FV is moving forward. Looks like he wants to move forward with the 110E4. This is going to give me a huge chance. He's got bad dispersion. I'll just aim in and we'll take him down. I knew he was a one-shot based on the hit points I saw. That's a great example, though. Earlier, that FV showed full hit points, and when he actually showed up, it went down to 200 or 241, which is what he actually had. All right, so that's a good example of why sometimes the hit point counter graph up there doesn't do much for you. And I'm going to bail out. I do not want the 110E4 just to push up and whack me for 750. And I screw this up big time. I've done this several times in this position, just so you know. As fast as my tank is, and I wasn't in turbo, unfortunately, I can't actually make that stupid hill. And I thought that might have got me killed. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have really screwed up right here. Now I have to crawl up this hill. And he's going to come right around that corner and destroy me, right? It's going to suck. Oh, EBR comes raging in. That is extremely, extremely lucky. Now, the FV took a hit, and I'm not sure what he was hit by, to be honest. Whether it was the grill or maybe the EBR 105 as he was raging by. Then we find that the grill's actually there. Look how long the zoom is. One of the weaknesses of this tank a little bit, and you can see I'm trying to get into fighting mode there because I was in turbo mode, is the aiming circle does take a little bit of time. It is a little bit painful to make that happen. So the FV bails out. He turtles up against Artie. Good move. And we're in a bit of a pickle here, to be honest. There's two Arties, so moving sideways is going to be difficult. We're sandwiched by a 110 and a grill. So the 110 could come from our left. The grill could come from the front. I'm really worried about the FV's 6 o'clock. That's the biggest worry. The guy comes around that corner, shoots the FV in the back, and now I'm facing both the 110E4 and the Grill A, plus 2 Artie. So I'm just going to hang out in this bush. Somebody wants to farm a Brothers in Arms, I believe. And now we're going to continue to use the tank's mobility. So it's been a while. I've just been fighting in the town, kind of reactive to a large extent, trying to keep myself alive. I get spotted right there. Probably the FV, which surprises me a little bit. I'm like, what on earth? What is he hiding behind over there through that area that I didn't see him? There is a bush on this corner right here, and he might be out just outside of proxy spotting for the FV. The other possibility is he's actually over in amongst these things. There are some trees and other bushes. I just don't know. Be honest, that kind of blew my mind. I had no idea where the heck I could have been spotted right there. And more than likely, that's the reason right there. He's in that bush. Okay, so he gets hit. Big hit from the FV. Trying to get a dang light on this guy. There we go. And, oh, and an armor. Are you kidding? Oh, so awful. Okay, so reference the, all right, you have some bad luck. What do you do with it? Well, soldier on, man. Soldier on. Get another shell in there. I'm going to go around this way a little bit. I did not want the 110E4 to come around and blap me. Go into speed mode, and now we're going to bail. All right. Oof. Oof. That's a bummer. Thinking, well, can I get a shot on this guy? Let's see. Okay, dang it. Another piece of bad luck, but that was a good angle by the 110E4. And now there's no reason really to go face-to-face with the 110E4. I'm going to run into the town, get up against these buildings a bit here, so I don't get artied, although I might be a little bit exposed if the artie's coming from the direction I was just pointing at. Go into speed mode and start raging. Maybe a little bit dangerous there. Yeah, there you go. That guy launched one in. And we're going to use the middle here. And then I find the HMC. I'm like, oh my gosh, there he is. Go into shooting mode. And I'm thinking, well, I'm probably going to take a hit here. I'm just going to have to accept it. Maybe move a little bit, make it hard. There we go. All this crap's in the way. It's all right. We'll just shoot him. And then we'll dive into the pit. Because I'm thinking maybe the GW will have a shot in a minute. Go into speed mode. Now see how I'm using that back and forth when I need to get moving. It does take 2 seconds, but man, you really get cruising. I didn't mention it, but did you see the shell came in from this direction on the other arty? So that let me know where that dude is. I'm going to stay low in this trench because I'm figuring the 110E4 is charging hard. This is the most exposed I'm going to be right here for a little while, and I'm glad he didn't charge me. More than likely, based on where I find him, he didn't. I think he's just turtling up. Not a particularly great player from what I can tell. So we'll come in here, and this was the direction. So I'm coming to the high ground. The reason being is I don't know if he's gone right or left. The shell came in from this direction somewhere, so I don't know if he's headed to this side or to this side. I'm hoping when I come up top, I catch him, because he's not very fast. So GW100. Like, where is he? There he is. Got him. So we're going to go into shooting mode, but unfortunately, the good news is I don't think he saw me. Go back to speed mode. There was not enough time to get a shot, and we're just going to rage after him. I actually go to HE. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. Guido, don't do it. That's okay. RNG has now decided to bless me. So there's several things that went bad, a couple things went well, but RNG has at this point decided that Guido is going to have a good game, because we come in here and we find this dude. He's trying to turn on me. I auto aim, and we're just going to come right up to him and blap him. Boom. All 433 hit points. We'll keep moving. I want to go dark before I pop up outside the ridge. I'm really glad the 110 was not down there with him. That would have sucked. We're going to just take a second. We have a minute. Time is now a problem. We don't have a lot of it. I'm just going to make sure he's not hanging out here out in the open. No, he's not. So we'll head off this way. I'm going to stay in combat mode because I want to be able to shoot. And then I'm like, nope, I need to move. All right. Reference to the RAM build part. I've had a lot of fun with this part, with the RAM build part on this game. I have 1,000 hit points. I'm actually in pretty good shape. We got 6 kills, 4,371 damage, 412 assists. I just have to find a 110E4 who actually has some pretty good hit points. I'm probably going to eat 750. That's my assumption right now. I'm going to eat 750. I need to get in and get a couple shots. I'm giving up some dispersion for speed because I need to close the distance on this guy if I can find him. Right. So here comes the raging CS63 cruising on in. And where is this guy now? I think he's probably back here somewhere, thinking that if I jump on the cap, he'll just come around the corner. A little bit surprised by where I find him. We'll come through here, and I just have to go. I have 28 seconds. I'm going to eat the shot. That's fine. We'll try to figure out how to kill him after that. Close with the speed. Get in there, circle him a little bit. Hopefully stay behind him enough to get 2 shots into him, and we can turn this thing into a win. So we come around this way. I'm headed right back where I think he is. Then I get the beep beep. Okay, new spot. I look at the main map / I got zoomed out enough that I can kind of catch the purple. I see him. He's got 689, and I'm just going to go at him, right? All right, let's talk about that right there. Wiggling and jiggling coming on in at guys. I knew as I was behind the building, as soon as I came out, he was going to try to fire, so I wanted to put a wiggle on him. Just as I came out, I get a bounce. Lucky? Absolutely, to some extent. But that is another skill, along with the trying to put the gun in front of people to stop them from shooting you, that competent to great players have. Does it always work? No. Did I get lucky here? 100%. But now I know it's on, actually, because I see that happen. I go, well, he's not going to reload before I get in. And I'm thinking, well, let's get in there. We'll circle him. And then I go, about halfway there, I said, well, it is a RAM build. It is a RAM build, and I am doing 70 kilometers an hour. And he's out in the open and not very fast. And he's actually adding a little bit of velocity. So the closure is even a little higher because he's made a nice little move towards me. I don't remember if he continues this. But I'm like, well, I don't know. I got even odds. And this is where my understanding of the ramming mechanics and stuff is not as good as it should be. I have a general idea that I'm in pretty good shape. There's other equipment I could put on that would actually save me even more damage. But I thought at this point, I'm like, this may be a mutual kill. But it's pretty awesome because what we do is, boom. A much heavier tank, by the way, the 110E4, I believe. I do 827 damage with the RAM, and he does 689. Leaves me with 190 odd hit points at the end. 7th kill, win, class 1, the combat RAM build. Now, I wish every game went this way. I wish I could sit here and tell you, well, this is the greatest build of all time and the greatest tank. Nah, not necessarily, but it is a lot of fun, and I think it's got other possibilities as I start to look at the rest of the RAM stuff and other things we can do with it. But I really enjoyed that game. That was a lot of fun. It kind of brought out everything that's good about this tank, you know, in one game right there. So I hope you guys liked that. I really enjoyed it. I am going to do another video with this tank talking a little bit more about maps and positions and things, because I learned a few things while running this tank, raging around like a chicken with my head cut off. We'll see if there's some things to learn with that as well, and I'll show you a bunch of good rams there as well. But that's all I've got for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We will see ya.